Welcome to the second weekend of GT World Challenge Asia, powered by AWS, and to our newest venue. Best known in the world of surfing, of traveling, and now the Indonesian home of MotoGP, Mandalika hosts rounds 3 and 4 after an incredible debut year in 2025. It's a beachside venue just a few kilometers from the tourist haven of Kuta and its epic surf beaches. GT World Challenge spans across the globe from America, Australia, Europe and Asia, with the most spectacular vehicles racing, from Aston Martin to the old Audi R8 LMS. BMW M4 still not a winner in Asia. Sadly, no Corvettes on our grid this season. Plenty of Ferrari 296 GT3s, some with an Evo package for 2026. Ford Mustang, one of the newer GT3 cars. An older Lamborghini Huracan GT3 represented here in Asia. No McLarens, however. The Mercedes GT3 Evo, still a hugely successful machine. And the Porsche 911 GT3 R, now with an Evo kit. The second weekend of racing in America was held at the Circuit of the Americas, with another 3-hour encounter facing the teams at a track considered SRO's home. Mackay Stevens once again led the field from pole position. A puncture from McLaren of Archangel Motorsports meant a full course yellow whilst cars were in pit lane, meaning they ended up at the head of the field once the rest pitted under green. Off strategy was also Colin Brown in the blue and white Porsche, able to carve his way through the mostly AM field. But then, with Michael Clark aboard, the Kelly Moss 27 was turned around. The leader was also in the wars, Grenier penalised for defending too hard, and therefore handing the Porsche of Dave Muzell and Ryan Yardley the overall victory. And a weekend before, Europe had kicked off their season at Paul Ricard, with interested team owner Max Verstappen watching on, and fellow F1 driver Lance Stroll entered as part of a star Aston Martin lineup. Mauro Engel led from pole position, but it was a long 6-hour encounter into the night and plenty of action to be had with a capacity grid. Jules Gounon having this scary moment. Fireworks into the sky, a momentary distraction, but the action on track continued at a pace. It looked great for Mercedes until this late race safety car shuffled the pack and put the Aston Martin of Nicky Team within fighting distance of the win. The Dane pushed through to force an error from Lucas Auer, only 6 minutes remaining. And so it was Team Trudy and Sorensen that won round 1 in Europe. And therefore, after 5 events in Australia, in Asia, and in Europe, and of course America, the global point standings look like this. With such popularity for Mercedes, they're always at the sharp end, but Porsche have a slight advantage after the first 5 races. BMW sitting 3rd, just ahead of Ferrari, Audi and McLaren, 5th and 6th of the 10 manufacturers involved. Here in Mandalika, a few changes to look out for. Beautiful surroundings around this circuit, and beautiful sky as well, not a cloud in it. Maybe a little bit threatening for the drivers as humidity will begin to increase this afternoon. A circuit, 60 degrees track temperature, just 30 degrees in the air, and a nice little breeze. Big storms last year, but it doesn't look like we've got too much happening this year, which is good news. Here in Mandalika, a few changes to look out for, not least our championship leaders Alessandro Ghiretti and Huang Ruohan, who unveiled a brand new livery inspired by the barong of Indonesian culture. The 911 lineup remains unchanged, however. But there are some new faces to get used to, not least perhaps the best-known Indonesian professional driver, Huang. Debuting for AF Corsa 2 weeks ago in Paul Ricard, he steps into a vacated Garage 75 Ferrari for his first race in Indonesia. As an FIA Silver, he'll drive alone in his first Asian start in the Silver class. Participating against them, the Nissan had one of their strongest weekends last year in Mandalika, being knocked out of the lead at the last corner. Sepang was also spectacular with a 4th in race 2, and they see a change with ex-Sauber F1 tester Kimya Sato joining Aoki to strengthen their Silver lineup. There are many lineup changes, but importantly, winners from race 2 in Sepang and the winners here last year are an unchanged lineup. Picariello and Lu Wei are surely favourites again. Mandalika is the second event in our 6-stop tour of Asia. We started a few weeks ago in Sepang. And we go to Shanghai next, followed by 2 rounds in Japan, and finish on the streets of E-Town in Beijing. The circuit here opened less than 5 years ago for bikes, with GT World Challenge Asia becoming the first international car racing series to participate on the 4.3-kilometer layout. A fiddly start and end to the lap. The rest of the circuit flows around 360 Hill with great views of the waves breaking just outside the perimeter. Here's what it looks like on board with our celebrated Indonesian guest star, Huang.
Hey guys, it's Huang here from Garage 75 on board the Ferrari 296 GT3 in Mandalika circuit. Not a long straight. You can carry quite a bit of speed here as it's a short exit. So brake lane, carry speed, good exit still. Then it's a nice flowing section here. Prepare as it's a lot of combined corners on the right and the left. Try to use as much road as possible. Good scenery. Then it's a flat section here, the double right, the triple right actually, into the nice high-speed corner here. I did a bit of a lift, but I think lower fuel, new tires, it should be good. And what a view coming here, and yeah, braking just around the 100. Not really a hairpin, like quite a quick hairpin here to be honest. Get inside, get a good exit, and then it's a nice start of sector 3 here. Clip inside, carry as much speed as possible while trying still to be close to flat as possible on the left, and just over this small crest into the fast left-right section. Try to carry speed, get a good exit as well into the last part of the corner here. You have a couple guys doing different lines depending on the car balance you have. Here I chose just get a bit tighter, nice easy brake, shallower, and then keep it tight. Good position for the last corner and get a good exit for the last straight. So there you have it, 1 lap with me, Huang in Mandalika circuit.
And great to have Huang with us. As I said, outside of Rio Haryanto, of course, the most successful Indonesian Formula 1 driver, Huang definitely the next best known. Of course, has driven Formula 1 machinery back in Toro Rosso days. There is that calendar I mentioned a little bit earlier. Sepang starting our championship at the beginning of April. And we will go to Shanghai next. And we will finish our year at E-Town, the street circuit of Beijing, with 2 stops in Japan for the Power Tour in between. Alongside me in the commentary box today, Sandy Stuvek once again joined me in Sepang, and back in a brand new circuit for you, Sandy, and a place you've actually managed to do a couple of laps to.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. It's great to be back here with you in the booth, and yeah, as we can see, what a fantastic venue this is. It was a pleasure for me to do a few laps on Thursday, and yeah, the layout here, it's great fun to drive, so all the drivers will be a little bit stressed right now, but I think they'll be looking forward to the race that is about to come.
We just had a quick look at the weather. As I said, 30 degrees, sunny, humidity not too bad, but the one that scares me and presumably scares teams and Pirelli mechanics is 60 degrees track temperature. That's 20 degrees more than we saw earlier.
Yeah, and as you pointed out earlier, the clouds are missing from the sky, so we've got no cloud cover, allowing the sun to directly heat up the track extensively. As we see now, the track temps are still climbing.
And so, I mean, presumably we've got some experience on Thursday, bit of testing with these temperatures, but that surely requires you to do different things with the car to try and get the tyres to last that half-hour stint.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it'll make for a very interesting race for us, as the drivers will have to think about managing their tyres. In this heat, I mean, that's really going to be important, particularly on the second stint.
Let's have a look at the championship standings, therefore, after 2 races in Sepang. As you can see, Huang and Alessandro Ghiretti leading the championship by 7 points over a pairing that have not yet won the championship but have come so very close, of Wei and Alessio Picariello. Anthony Liu and Dorian Boccalacci third in the championship, but Boccalacci not here this weekend. Anthony with a new teammate and a pole position for first time in a long time, actually, in race 2. So that's tomorrow's race. Akash Nandi, the sole silver, sitting 4th in the championship. And for Akash, for this race, race 1s are so important, and he's got extra competition in that silver category, with Sean Galal joining the silver class.
Yeah, that'll be awesome to watch. Both of those drivers doing the entire hour by themselves. So let's see how they fare, but I think they'll have quite a good advantage going into the second stint, as they will be fresh.
Great to have Sean Galal with us. Expecting 2,000 or 3,000 fans coming to him. I wonder how he's feeling. Down on the grid with Amy.
The very beautiful street circuit of Mandalika, and I am here pole position with one of the most famous Indonesian drivers of all time, I would say. Well, congratulations of your pole position here. How are you enjoying this home race, home country vibe?
Sun's out, weather's great, view's great, people are amazing here, so can't really complain, you know. I'm happy, so hopefully we can make it even happier after the start of the race and we finish in the same spot, but you know, we do our best, and then we take God at the wheel.
So starting from this position is a treat. However, you are a single driver this time. It is very tough, like physically, as well as, you know, the heat and the humidity and everything. Are you prepared for the pole to win, I would say?
Well, I hope so. I mean, trained 15 years for this, I guess. No, but yeah, we do our best. We see. Don't overpromise, but we do our best. We do the job. We did everything in testing, so hopefully we can do it this time.
Perfect. Good luck and have fun.
Thank you.
Sean Galal with huge experience in the WEC Championship. That's with BMW. Previously, 7 years in GP2, Formula 3 European Championship. Started his life actually co-driving for his father in the Indonesian Rally Championship and won that championship with his dad back in 2006. So one of those families that have got huge heritage. He is a new silver entry. So he has an extra 3 seconds in the pit stop versus Akish. Akish and Sean, both single driver entries, and therefore they have an extra 7 seconds in the pits over the standard 100 seconds in the pits. It's a little bit more, it's a bit confusing, but we'll cover it off when we get closer to the time. There is also success penalties for the top 3 from last race in Sepang. We've also got one car with a 10-place grid penalty from race 2 in Sepang. We'll get to them right at the tail of the field. Let's go down to Amy once again, though, because she's caught up with a very well-qualified Ben Porter.
And back on the grids with William Ben Porter. I have to congratulate you. This, you know, starting from this position is amazing. Your rivalry, the AM class, are way back down the grid.
Yeah, look, we're really happy with it. We probably underperformed in Sepang. But going away in the few weeks in between, the team have put a huge amount of effort into improving the car, and now clearly the thing's a jet. So it's up to myself and Andrew to finish it and hopefully stay in this position in class.
It's quite a weird question probably, but looking on the globe, is it a little bit closer to your home country?
I guess by distance, yes, but route of travel, no. It's an effort to get here. It's sort of 2 days to get here and back either side of the event. So it's a big effort, but the place is beautiful. The track's intense, and we enjoy it.
All the fun to you, and good luck.
All right, thank you.
Worth pointing out that that car behind him is a brand new car to them. It's the Evo of the 911 GT3 R. All the other teams on the grid had the previous iteration, whereas AMAC didn't have that one. They've jumped 2 hoops, whereas the likes of Phantom, for instance, they just went from the 911 GT R, which was homologated, I think, 2 years ago, up to the Evo, and it was only a small change, but it's been a bigger change for AMAC. Certainly for an AM driver, makes even more of a difference. And I think, yeah, as Ben said, they struggled in Sepang, but they seem to have got on top of it now.
Yeah, I mean, they've really made a big step. I believe they were using the 991 before, so to get the 992 dialed in to both of their driving styles, they've clearly found what they needed to find, and they will be one to watch for the race for sure.
Doesn't take much to look over the barriers here in Mandalika and see the waves crashing behind them. As you enter the village of Mandalika, of Kuta, there is a statue of a surfer. That's what this place is all about. This is why so many people come here, for the surfing, for the breaks, just off from turn 10. The beach is right there. Not the best break there, apparently, but it was a secret surf spot before we built a racetrack in the way. Let's go down to the grid once more with Amy, and she's caught up with the most winningest driver, Wei Lu, in the championship.
And back on the grid with Wei Lu. I am pretty sure that you and also your partner were not really happy with the qualifying this morning, starting from this row. How is that?
We've been having issues with the car this whole weekend. Like even the qualifying session, the car was not 100%. But I think we got it fixed. I think, hopefully, finger crossed. And we are not that far from the competitors. Only 2 cars. I probably stuffed them in turn 1. So let's see how it goes.
Well, but what was the issue exactly? Like, spill the tea out.
Suspensions. We hit the yellow concrete ball a few times on Thursday, I think. Probably me or my teammate, I'm not so sure. Then we have little issues with the shocks. It's really difficult to tell until you look at the data. So we've been studying this, then we changed the shocks, replacing the shocks. I think it should be fine now, yeah.
I wish you all the best luck then, because you won this race last year, so hopefully you catch that luck again.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Wonderful, honest interview there with Lu Wei. We've had a lot of running around here, and the start of the week on the Thursday, the bollards that basically define the circuit because it's so flat, they were 95 millimeters high, and the Porsches were catching them and doing quite a bit of damage.
Yes, correct. So they were tearing up the splitters and the inside of the wheel wells, so they made the decision to lower the height of those little bollards.
But it seems as though for Origin, that problem from Thursday has been sort of there all the way through qualifying. It may explain the fact that the Phantom Porsche looked rapid, but they didn't quite have the pace in qualifying.
Yeah, could certainly explain that. If they've had an issue with one of their shocks, their dampers, something perhaps leaking ever so slightly, but hopefully they've got that car dialed in again.
New driver in the number 18 alongside Nagai. We will see Hiro starts the car, but in the second seat will be Yuichi Nakayama, who comes from the Super GT Championship, and he is a rookie in GT World Challenge Asia, much like we just spoke to with Sean Galisle. He's another rookie. Luke Hartog, a third rookie to the championship this weekend. And actually, Kimya Sato makes it 4 rookies here in Indonesia. And talking of Kimya Sato, let's go down to them because the Nissan at the tail of the field.
And back back on the grids, however, the very back of the grids with the 500 car. Sato Senshu, what happened at qualifying? Can you tell us what the problem was?
Yeah, from the beginning of the qualifying one, start of the session, we have an issue with the gearbox, and then couldn't run any properly, and then keep in trouble. Same in Q2, I was yeah, didn't run properly at all. But yeah, we are pretty looking forward in race longer distance. We have a performance, so yeah.
But is the problem fixed, and will it go as you wish?
Yes, we fixed it.
So I wish you all the best luck, and hopefully more luck than last year as well, because you didn't have a quite nice weekend last year as well. So yeah.
Yeah, of course we're gonna focus on. We have a chance still. So yeah, we're gonna focus on go to the front. Or the front. So yes.
All of Japan is rooting for you. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kimi Sato, once upon a time a Sauber F1 test driver, now basically racing for Toyota in Super Taku and Super GT in the 300 category. So that must be quite a big difference, jumping from the Supra GT300 into the big grunty Nissan, which is old technology, Sandy.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many new GT3 cars now that the GTR almost looks a bit dated, really, but performance is still good, as we saw on Thursday, and they'll be one to look out for as they climb up the field.
And right beside them on the back of the grid, in last position, the 918 of Vutakorn and Thapruvasak. Remember, those two cars actually got together in race 2. The 918 spun the 500 in a battle for the podium positions, I seem to remember, and Vutakorn getting a 10-place grid penalty post-race in Sepang, and therefore it was supposed to be a drive-through penalty, but it's converted into this race as a 10-place grid drop, and unfortunately 10-place grid drop means back of the grid for Vutti. So he's going to have a great fun opening stint. To be honest, it looks like a circuit where you can overtake.
Yeah, it really does. I think especially into T10, that hard braking after the high-speed chicane will be 1 point, and the penultimate corner, that one also a good point to make a pass.
Anthony Liu saying that the Porsches are down a little bit on top speed versus some of the other cars, but we know that Nissan always has very good top speed, so even if he lets the Nissan go ahead and just follows him through, why not?
Yeah.
Let's go back down to Amy as the grid begins to clear. Dean Chen has qualified very well. His teammate is Liang Jietong.
And as we are clearing the grids, let's walk a little bit slowly. I have Liang with me, car 77. So your partner is quite new in the championship and already so high in the position.
Yes, I'm very happy that he did a very good, amazing lap in qualifying. So now we start from the pole in the Silver Arm class. So hopefully we can bring the home with a win.
So what's his background like? I also heard he did not have much experience in GT racing.
Yes, he did a Super Taku in Japan with us 2 years ago, and basically he just did some sim racing. So very, very impressive, and very happy for him.
Fantastic. I cross my fingers for you. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Dean Chen, a Canadian sim racing facilities owner, much like Daryl O'Young there, Canadian-Chinese. Daryl now retired, as you can see. No longer needing to go to the gym anymore. I can say that because me and Daryl compete with our belly sizes. And he's been a professional racing driver for a good few years. Great to have Daryl with us this weekend. There is Jackson Evans, who is right at the sharp end for race 2. He's in the Phantom Audis. His teammate to look out for is Andres Pato, who qualified very well in the Audi, which I think is there on row 2, isn't it? So we've got an Audi on row 2, which is the 16 of Frankie Chen, sorry. And then 2 rows back is Anders Pato, known by various other names over the last couple of years, including Andrew Haryanto. He is an Indonesian, so the 3rd Indonesian on our grid from Shongalayal and Setawan Santosho. Interestingly, David Cipto Bianturo is here this weekend to watch Sean Galayal, but he has handed that car completely over to Sean. I think there was options for them to share the car and do a silver AM entry, but it was decided to let Sean have the car all to himself. So on board with the pole man, and there'll be a lot of very, very interested eyes watching Ghiretti. Now the palm trees that border this circuit, coconuts aplenty. Very nutritious. Nutritious, is that a word? To drink a coconut? Coconut milk, coconut water?
It's good for hydration.
Yeah. You could put coconut on anything, can't you? In your hair, and it's supposed to make it nicer. So let's have a look then. The silver AM pole position is that of Dean Chen and Liang Jiatong. Ben Porter on the pole position for AM. He's, by the way, up in 6th position, which is pretty impressive. And then Pro-Am of Luke Hartog and Anthony Liu will start that car. Sean Ghiretti, the silver driver on the pole position. Watch out. This is where the silvers really, really want to make their mark, because it's harder in race 2. Silver front row with Andy Dung alongside Sean Ghiretti. Akish Nandi in the Lamborghini in 3rd, a gearbox change for them since qualifying, with Frankie Cheng alongside him on his 75th start in GT World Challenge Asia. Then it's Anthony Liu and Ron Huang. William Ben Porter in 7th position, and then Andreas Pato in 8th, another of our AM competitors. Lu Wei and Dean Chen on row number 5, and that's the silver AM pole position. And then Tony Ruohan and Hiroyuki Nagai on row number 6. Much better qualifying for Team Studi in 13th position for Yamaguchi, alongside the second of the AMs up in 14th position. Watch out for Hang Chang-Li. Very, very strong opening stint from him in Sepang. Uchiyama 15th, JJ Song in 16th position. And then another of our Indonesians, Setuan Santoso, in 17th for Climax this year. He shares that car with Mike Zhou and Lili Chow in 18th spot. Brian Lee from Chinese Taipei in 19th. And then Sung Jingsu in 20th. That back row of Aoki and Inter-Puvasak is going to be interesting to watch. We've got an onboard camera in the Nissan, which is great news to see how quickly he can get through the pack. And Aoki has considered a silver because huge experience. He's something like the 2001 Super GT 300 champion. 2001. So that is 25 years ago. Aoki won that Super GT 300 championship alongside Kimya Sato, who actually has been around a hugely long time, because in 2014 he won the Auto GP championship. In 2012 he was winning races in Formula 3 Euro Series. I remember because I was commentating on it. But came back over to Japan and started his career in Japan in Super GT. Hasn't done too much in Super Formula, but Kimya is going to be interesting to watch out for. We haven't really seen too much of him so far, unfortunately missing out on that qualifying, but great to get an interview with him on the grid. 2 formation laps. The second formation lap, the clock begins. So we are effectively racing right now, but we will have a side-by-side rolling start 2 by 2, even though the clock is going. Bit of drama last year into turn 1. Let's see what happens here. It's round number 3 of GT World Challenge Asia, powered by AWS. Race 1 in Mandalika, Indonesia, and an Indonesian on the pole position. Big pressure on Andy Dung's shoulders. He's in the 96 silver machine. It's a non-Evo car, that car, so slightly less adjustment, and it's quickly going green, and I think Sean Ghiretti's got a good start into the lead of the race. Akish Nandi looking down the inside of Frankie Chen, but loses a position into the braking zone of turn number 1, and all 3 silvers are cleanly through the first turn. Then it's 3 AMs in the 3 Porsches. 5th, 6th and 7th. Anthony Liu trying to muscle his way into 4th position. But Akash Nandi needs to defend there, side by side for the lead of the race, I think, as they came through the sweeping turn number 4, but it didn't quite change, and maybe a bit more confidence from Andy Dung in these first couple of corners. He's crawling all over the back of the Indonesian.
Yeah, he's all over him here, so maybe he's going to think about a move into T10, but looks like maybe some aero wash has caused him to drop back from Sean a little bit.
These fast sweepers really do affect these highly aerodynamic cars these days. The old GT3 cars that didn't really worry about aerodynamics have gone now, and because we are so fast in the majority of this circuit, you start to change the balance of the car when you're sitting under the rear wing of another machine. I think Andy Dung may have felt that. Track limits are going to be monitored throughout this 50-minute race, so you can't run off the circuit too much. And a bit of hassle here for Andres Pato, who hasn't got the confidence. Dean Chen looking up the inside to try and get past the 89 of Tony Moran, but there isn't space on the entrance to this penultimate turn. There's lots of different lines to it, but ultimately Dean Chen having to take a different line, perhaps try and slingshot. Hasn't worked out for him.
No. As the top 3 starting to gap, but looks like Anthony's got some damage.
Anthony Liu has damage to the Porsche's front left corner. The number 37 bodywork needs to really just fly off. That would be much better, because leaving it like that, the race control will not like it. He needs to find a bollard perhaps so he can knock it off or something like that. Doesn't seem to be affecting his performance, and Akash Nandi is not getting away from him, but race control will instantly have a flag out for Anthony Liu, which means an unscheduled pit stop, which means a very, very hard day for the rest of the race. It's weird to see something like that, maybe a little bit of contact already, but the whole piece is basically going to come off as one.
Yeah, it looks like it's falling off.
Got that one hook. Now let's see, was there contact with Nandi? Yes, he's just had a little idea of a inside line. But that's such a common incident in that corner where you've got sort of 3 different lines converging.
Yeah, it looks like he half had a think about going up the inside, but it just wasn't enough.
You can't really blame Akash for that. Hopefully there's no damage to the rear right corner of the Lamborghini. No messages yet from race control. And unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's coming off easily, does it?
No, it looks like that clip is holding it in place pretty well.
Which is a disappointment. What you need is a tyre stack or something like that. A little bit of rubbing further back as Tony Moran tries to find a way past Pato.
Wow.
I mean, very strong in qualifying, but again, confidence in these early stages of this race. Andres Pato is really under pressure here.
Yeah, we see the BMW quite strong on the straight. Tries a move around the outside, but Andres got a lot of experience, so he's not going to let that happen.
Presumably, you're going to set the car up differently in the race to qualifying when it comes to the balance. The balance is going to shift throughout the half an hour stint, whereas in a qualifying session, you want it to be on point within 1 lap. Here, you want it to be on point for the second half of the stint, right?
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we see a few different teams opting for a slightly different setup, maybe to cope with the heat of the circuit a bit better and aim for a bit more longevity.
So Pato thinking he needs to go defensive, possibly didn't need to go defensive there. I'm not sure the BMW was close enough to make a move, and that's going to compromise his exit out of that turn. His long sweeping right-hander and then a couple of left-handers as well. Not really any space to overtake here. You need to sort of set yourself up for that penultimate corner on the lap.
Yeah, definitely. As we see BMW here really trying to make inroads, but I think the Audi is quite powerful through this final sector.
Now, if race control can see that that piece of bodywork is hanging on well, maybe they're going to be kind to Anthony Liu and decide not to give him a mechanical flag. The danger is it comes off and it gets hit by another car and then disintegrates, but it's doing well to hold on, so there's no reason why it won't stay on.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's...
That'll be the argument from Martin at Phantom anyway.
Yeah.
Galil with an 0.8 of a second advantage over Andy Dung, who gets the fastest lap on that last lap. And then Frankie Chen in 3rd position. Nandi can't hold on to him in 4th. Those 4 silvers at the head of the field, as you would expect. Then it's Anthony Liu. Then it's Ron Huang. with Ben Porter in 7th position, Lu Wei 8th, Pato and Ran Kunfan 9th and 10th. That little battle we've been watching. But here are the two Ferraris at the head of the field. An Evo version of the 296 leading a non-Evo version. I don't know how much you know about the Evo to non-Evo.
The Ferrari, not too much.
It doesn't look very much from the outside, but I had a bit of a sniff around in Harmony's garage, and you can now modify the whole front suspension, whereas you couldn't on the original car. You now have so much more to play with the Evo. But Brendan Leach was telling me he feels that actually the Evo is not as strong yet. There is, by the way, Brendan Leach's car, not yet as strong as the older version.
Well, the older one, they did really well in Quali 2 with Liu Kaishun, so yeah, might be they're still finding their footing with that Evo spec 296.
So lots of deliberation going on in race control, I imagine, about the situation with Anthony Liu's car. I imagine that the various team managers will be arguing different sides of the coin here. Phantom will be on the phone saying, no, it's fine, it's holding, it's already done 4 laps, so there's no reason why it'll fall off. And everyone else will be saying, well, it's dangerous and it might get banged up by me. Fastest lap of the race on 1 lap later for Sean Gelael. Andy Dung in 2nd position was only a 100th behind. So this is a really good showing from Andy. As we've seen, he's been so strong. They were racing this car, or not this car, but he was also racing a couple of weekends ago in China GT. So a dual program, which means plenty of mileage.
Yeah, I mean, and Andy is a great driver, as we can see, really keeping Sean honest.
You were his driver coach, so it's all to do with you, right?
Well, no, he was my teammate, actually.
Oh, teammate, okay.
In 2024, so I know him well, and I know how much he can extract from the car. So this will be a fun one to follow.
More experience almost in the Ferrari for Andy Dung than for Sean Gelael, because Gelael's had 3 years in BMW, and Anthony Liu comes into the pits. That is a black and orange flag, so race control did decide to give it to him. He has a full length of the pit lane. He'll stop. It won't take long for the mechanics to take that off, or they might try and tape it on, which certainly it'll be faster to rip it off, but the car might be pretty horrible to drive.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how he does after he gets out of the pit. I'm also wondering what they're going to do. Oh, wow.
Oh, it's now ripped off the bumper as well. That is bad news. So it really does need to be taped back on if they can. You can't be driving a car without a bumper and a wing. And big lumps of yellow tape have already been prepared. But this is not an easy fix. And now he really will be wanting a safety car to rescue any chance of success in this race. This feels like, ever since 2023, where Anthony Liu won the championship, it basically feels like how it's been for him since. So much bad luck over the years.
Yeah, always really good on pace, but just unlucky.
The tiniest of taps on the Lamborghini. Not really seeing any compromise to the Lamborghini at all, and yet the Lamborghini suffering little and Porsche suffering a lot. Now, and I'm looking at the tracker because Anthony Liu needs to try and get out of the pits before the leader gets past him. If the leader gets past him, then it's game over. If there's a safety car, he'll still be 1 lap back. But I think he just about may have done it, and that will, only if there's a safety car, save his race. Watching Dean Chen here in 10th position. He's also the leading silver AM, with Uchiyama down in 14th position, 2nd in the silver AM category. And then down in 16th, Brian Lee, 3rd in that category. So Dean Chen continuing to do a fantastic job. There is Anthony Liu, and there is our leader. So just confirmation then that he did get out in front of our leader. So if we get a safety car, then it will go, he will at least be on the same lap, albeit at the back of the field. Talking about the back of the field, how has our 2 back rows got on? Aoki's 15th, so the 500 Nissan is up to 15th spot, and Interpruvasak 18th, so not massive progress.
No, I would have thought they'd be higher up, both of them, at this point, but looks like the field has spread itself out quite a lot, so they're going to have to put in quite a few laps.
On board with Sean Ghalayel then. Unbelievably, Sean Ghalayel has not really been called Sean Ghalayel. Oh, we've got the Porsche that was the reason for our red flag, and we've also got Brian Lee with what looks to be a puncture on the front left corner. Has there been contact between those two cars? They're both off at a similar part of the track. Brian Lee's down at turn 10, and the Porsche was at the inside of turn 9. Got the leaders coming towards that zone now. Let's have a look. This is a flat-out part of the circuit, Sandy.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Wow, I don't know. That was so weird. I mean, you should be flat into that corner, so I don't know how the BMW managed to close up so much.
And I think the Porsche may have just about stayed out of the barrier. That is lucky. But quite big damage from both of them, and a very weird accident.
Yeah. Could this be a safety car?
Well, preferring for a full course yellow, that's the first thing they'll do. And if we do a full course yellow for too long, then they will always go safety car afterwards. So full course yellow is confirmed. And I can't really explain that. The problem is, Sandy, that's not really a place that you can go side by side.
No, it's not. It's really just one line through there, since it is flat out, but on the limit flat out. But it's strange that the BMW had such a closing speed on the Porsche in a corner where you don't brake.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it literally is. If you look at it from a map, it looks like Eau Rouge. It's a right, left, right, but there's this little gradient change as well. And I was saying last year, the cars really moved around as they went over that. Different tyres this year, of course, same Pirelli tyre, but the newer spec tyre that has been rolled out across GT World Challenge globally. And it seems as though that tyre is just giving, at least at the start of the stint, a little bit more stability and grip through there. There was a driver or two that said, I'm not sure how it'll be after half an hour. However, we could see some proper movement, and the cars were really moving around in the longer runs that we saw in pre-qualifying and time practice.
Yeah, and with the track temps we've seen, I mean, we can really expect towards the end of the stint quite a lot of movement from the rear.
So let's recap our Pro-Am leaders. Still the 911 of Huang. No ground gained by Lu Wei in 7th position, and then Andres Pato is the 3rd Pro-Am in 8th. Of course, because Anthony Liu would have been there. There's the Am leader, Ben Porter, still in 6th position, still running with the best of the Ams. So I hope the pressure is on Tony McPherson when he gets in that car, because it's some heady heights for Amac on the 51 machine. Does look very attractive in that livery. And then Silver Am leader will be next through our shot. Dropped back off the tail quite significantly, actually. It was in that battle, just as the two cars we just come through the shot of Pato and Ran was in that battle, but Dean Chen dropped down to 10th position. Wonder why that happened. Let's have a quick look. It wasn't on the last lap. It must have been whilst we were still racing, a mistake from Dean Chen, and certainly a mistake from Brian Lee, who walks away disappointed with suspension damage. It does mean that we won't see Max Hussein. Here it is again. He's actually quite far alongside as well.
Yeah, he was pretty much. Okay.
Feels like from on board.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a problem because he's been passed from the outside. Not second car has passed him. We can't hear. That would be really good to be able to hear the engine noise. And then, yeah, needed to get off the track really. The 18 car.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's a disappointment then for Okazaki, and damage to the right side of that car. Of course, these cars have come directly from Sepang in their containers over here. And then they'll be heading off next to Shanghai. So limited spares, although Porsche, of course, bring a decent spares support. But we are on an island. We are in pretty much the middle of nowhere, so it's a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll get that car out for tomorrow. But the question more is why the car slowed down in the first place.
Yeah, correct.
Let's have a listen. Have a listen now.
He braked into that corner where you would normally not brake, but he was lifting and letting people pass, so I'm not quite sure. Maybe he was fighting an issue in the car or something.
It was either that he's just been put offline by those cars passing, and so suddenly had lost confidence and thought, right, I'm getting to this a corner where you need maximum confidence, right?
Yeah.
Getting to that corner, I'll give it a lift because I've been offline, or maybe you've picked up some debris or whatever.
Yeah.
And obviously Brian Lee wasn't expecting that. But yeah, we've got 2 cars still off the circuit. No recovery vehicles at the moment.
This will really play into the hands of all the Pro-Am pairings, as the Silvers are unable to increase their gap at the moment.
Now, I noticed this difference from last year. You can see right in the middle of shot there, from the left of shot basically to the car, there is now a slip road in the middle of that gravel trap, because obviously so many people go off there. There was a car that was off, Porsche that was off on Thursday, I saw, beached in the gravel, and it was the perfect little width for a pickup truck to be able to drive across the gravel and pick him up and then easily get off and on the gravel. We've seen sometimes, for instance, Barcelona, for instance, they've got those pickup trucks. And they try and drive over the gravel. The gravel's so deep that even the 4x4 pickup truck gets stuck.
Yeah.
So a nice little addition since we were here last year. But obviously there isn't a pickup truck in that vicinity yet. And it does need a proper hoist because it's not going to be rolling. Neither car are going to be rolling anywhere.
No.
So back to Sean Ghiretti. I know there's lots of you who are going to be saying, you're saying it wrong. That's not how it's said. If you watch our feature on Sean on social media, that's how he says his name. For some bizarre reason, he's been racing for, what, nearly 20 years, 15 years? Nobody's ever said it right. So I'm today putting it to right that he's called Sean Ghiretti, not Sean Ghiretti. And I hope perhaps no commentator that does another series will be watching this because they'll all be sleeping or working. But that's how it's going to be from now on. And I hope Sean actually joined us again because it's the first time he's joined GT World Challenge Asia, the first time he's raced in Indonesia. But he has been part of the European Championship, Paul Ricard, 2 weekends ago. He finished 19th, I think, with Lila Wadu and Arthur Leclerc, who's Charles Leclerc's brother. And slightly confusingly, the Indonesian flag and the Monegasque flag are quite similar.
Yeah, very, very similar.
So I thought they got the flags wrong, but they hadn't. It was just that they're very similar. Lila Wadu being French, her flag is different. So he's got quite a busy program doing GT World Challenge Europe Endurance and his WEC duties. And then he's coming to do at least this. But I hope he gets a taste.
Yeah, I hope he comes back. He's a great character to have in the paddock with us.
And it is amazing, actually, how close both Andy Dunger's got close to Sean Ghiretti. Yes, Ghiretti. And so now I'm now
you're
doubting
second
myself.
guessing.
Frankie Chen and Akish Nandi has got super close as well. They were definitely not as close at the start of the window. And look at the lap times. I don't know if we can bring up last laps, because this is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind they've been under safety car, full course yellow, where they're supposed to be all doing the same speed.
Yep.
Doesn't necessarily mean you're doing the same distance.
No.
If you compare Frankie Cheng's lap time to Akish Nandi's lap time on the last lap, there is a 2.5 second difference on the last lap.
Yeah.
So Akish has basically covered less ground.
Yeah.
Right, before we get more into that, here is the start of the race again, on board with the number 18. Didn't have much time to react. The lights went off very early, didn't they?
Yeah,
so if you're further back,
early.
it's quite hard to react to them.
Yeah. Final few cars just making it around the last corner before they dropped the light.
Oh, that felt like there was either a bit of contact or something into turn number 1. Sometimes it's nice to have that little bit of breathing space in front of you, isn't it? You could do your own thing.
Yeah.
Quite chilled then from the 18 cockpit. What about the Nissan at the tail of the field? Like, he's literally going to come out the corner and have to accelerate, right?
Yeah. He's left him. I wonder if there's a car that didn't take the start because he's quite far from the...
Yeah, there's definitely a car missing from in front of him there.
Wow, look at the straight line of the GTR, really getting up to speed towards the end there. Look at that, wow.
What was that went off? Somebody went very, very wide at turn number 1.
Yep.
Then Sun Jai-Zung being passed there in the number 13 Ferrari. JJ is going to be passed as well by the Nissan 2. And pit window is going to be delayed because obviously it's about to open in 30 seconds. And they don't want everyone coming in at the same time on the same lap, which is what happens in full course yellow situations. Although, to be fair, they're well spread out, so they don't necessarily need to delay it. But I'm being told it is delayed.
And I'm wondering at what point are we going to get the safety car? Because it's been full course yellow for quite some time now.
Safety car rolling and should soon pick up the leaders, which then puts Anthony Liu on the tail of the field. Now, those cars that have success penalties from the last round are going to be heavily, heavily affected by this. And that is obviously 15 seconds for our winners of race number 2, Lu Wei and Alessio Picariello. And then Luke Hartog and Anthony Liu have 10 seconds, even though they're at the back of the field. And then Ghiretti and Huang have 5. And then you've got to look at the 2 silvers that have got the single driver penalty, so that's 7 seconds. And then as Galal is a new entry, he gets an extra 3. So he is doing 10 seconds. Interestingly, that's 5 seconds more, isn't it, Sandy, than they were having to do in Sepang, because Akish had a 3-second penalty for being a single driver, but 7 seconds here.
Yes, correct.
Was it felt by the race organisers, therefore, there wasn't enough of a penalty from Sepang? Or is it layout dependent, pit lane dependent, things, that sort of stuff?
Honestly, not too sure. I mean, Akash had very good performance in Sepang, so maybe that played a little bit into it. And we'll have to see how Sean and Akash deal with their compensation times in the pit lane for this stint.
Yeah.
See how they come out. And yeah, I believe this will be something that will be deliberated by the organisers throughout the season.
Right, let's get down to Amy, who's going to sweep up some stories in pit lane. She's with Akiyama.
Here in the box with Nakayama, car number 18. First of all, I want to ask whether the driver is okay and what he thinks of what happened. Nakayama 選手、永井選手は大丈夫そうですか？
そうですね、ドライバーは大丈夫だと思うんですけど、永井選手もすごいいいバトルしててって中でちょっと車にトラブルがあったのかわかんないんですけど、ちょっとスローダウンしてるのかなというところで後ろから、来た車にぶつけられてしまってっていうところでレース終わっちゃったので、すごく残念なんですけど、チームとしてもねすごいいい流れで来てたので、しっかり直して明日にはつなげられるといいなと思います。
無線で何があったとかはまだ聞いてない感じですかね。
そうですね、まだちょっとはいすぐアクシデントあってまだ状況が分かってないです。
ありがとうございます。それで明日はね直してくれるかと思うんで頑張ってください。
そうですね、明日も楽しんでいきたいと思います。
ありがとうございます。 So first of all, the driver is okay. He was responding on the radio that everything is fine. However, they have no idea what happened. It might have been a trouble that the car all of a sudden lost speed. So they are investigating at the moment. It is very unfortunate for them. And but so far, Nakayama has been having fun on this track. So he is looking forward that the team will get the car fixed until tomorrow. And we'll see. Back to you.
Fingers crossed for that number 18 machine. Had a really much stronger Sepang than we've seen from Porsche Center Okazaki in the last few years. Actually, the 25 was the stronger of the pairing. 2 8th positions was a really good result for that team. The 18 machine struggled a bit more. And of course, Nakayama there, brand new to the team, first time in this championship. So he'll be desperate to get himself in the car for tomorrow, starting the race tomorrow, of course, because the order and driver lineup changes from race 1 to race 2. So AMs start race 1, pros start race 2. Anthony Liu here, catching up to the tail of the field. He's absolutely flat out, trying to catch up to the train before they will then go into the pits. But they're not going to do that until we go back to racing. Now, I think from the looks of the tracker, the cars are now recovered, or certainly getting close to being behind barriers. So might not be long before we can get back to racing. And then race control have the ability to open the window as and when they like. Hearing it's going to be in 3 minutes' time. Hang on. So they need to get the safety car. That must be banking on the safety car coming in as straight as possible. Now, what's going to happen here, Sandy? All the AMs are going to come in the pits.
Yes,
yeah.
I think we're going to see quite a lot of action down pit lane now.
But if you're a silver or an AM pairing, is it better for you just to get out, stay out and do a couple of laps? Because no one's up to speed yet.
At this point, it's difficult, as most of the AMs are going to come in and put their pros in, probably with a better set. They'll be looking to undercut anybody who is staying out. So if I was a silver, I would probably come in at the soonest opportunity as well, seeing as we are more than half the race distance complete already.
Of course, all my excitement of the pace under the full course yellow has all been undone now because we're behind safety car, so it doesn't really matter anymore. But I thought that was very interesting to see. Nandi was by far the fastest, even though he was on the same speed limiter as everybody else.
Yes.
But then
it's distance. I noticed most of the cars were doing the racing line, and when you're doing 80 Ks, that is not the best line. So Akash probably just short lining everything he could, and the safety car is in.
Safety car in. Didn't even notice that the lights were out. We're back to racing, and it's a change for second position, a challenge. Frankie Cheng and Akash Nandi going side by side. Cheng's been slightly caught out, like me, and holds on to third position. Nandi trying to go around the outside. He was on the button. He was on the money. And Ben Porter in a good fight here, trying to get past Ron Huang for fifth position in that AM machine. It won't be long before pit window is open, but at least they're going to have one lap of running, I think, for these AM drivers before they come into the pits. Pit lane window will open in 45 seconds, so they're all going to come into the pits, surely.
Yeah, this lap will be everyone diving into the pits.
Round the outside for Tony Ran on Anders Pato. No way to go round there. Maybe the switchback, maybe a nose ahead through the right-hander. Let's have a look if there's an overlap. Has to go back to the outside line again. Can't find a way through, but ultimately possibly only a couple of corners to go. Actually, are their front cars going to be able to get into pit lane? We've got 10 seconds before the window opens. I think they may, some of the leaders may be past the pit lane before they can dive in. Let's have a look.
Yep, leader stays out.
Coming through these final couple of turns. Now it opens, but 4 or 5 cars are all staying out on circuits. That actually, well, all the silvers have stayed out, and the first of our Pro-Ams has come into the pit, so hasn't really compromised the Pro-Am category, but look how busy it's going to get. There's even side by side as Vutakorn and Tapuvasak tries to hurry up the number 5 BMW. Anthony Liu already making up 2 positions in that 1 lap. Great stuff from Anthony. He is an absolute terrier when it comes to getting past people. So a standard 100 seconds for the likes of Dean Chen, handing over to Liang Jiatong. But for those that were successful in Sepang, slightly longer. 15 extra seconds for the number 4. 5 extra seconds for the number 911, and 10 extra seconds for the number 37. We'll cover off the silvers in a few moments' time. They don't necessarily need to do their pit stops in any given time. There's not really an ideal for them, but particularly for the front 2 single drivers, they're not swapping to anybody else.
No, they're not. So let's see now if Sean in the 50 decides to come in or not. Looks like he does.
Oh, the problem is the pit lane is still busy.
Yeah.
So it could be slightly compromised coming in here with other people coming out. And yes, he does. It's the time which you enter the lane to the time you exit the lane, not necessarily the stationary time. But look how many cars he could get mixed up with here.
Whoa.
It's so busy trying to release your car. Again, the 918 there, trying to find a slot to slot into. Klaus Bachler is now aboard that 918 machine that started on the tail of the field for Vitaconen to Pruvasak. Into the pits comes the Indonesian. Now, single driver entry. He has to get out of the car fully. He has to shut the door, and then he has to open the door and get back in. And he's got an extra 7 seconds to do so. Did the door shut?
I mean, the door wouldn't shut between a normal driver change anyway.
No,
but,
no, I know. Yes, nice little argument, Mr. Silver Driver. But I don't think the door shut there. I'm crossing my fingers that it did, because we do not need a silly penalty for Sean Gelael to miss out on a win. So he's going to be stationary for 110 seconds. Once again, I don't have the column as to how long the pit stops are, but we can see if we can find them at least on one of our screens to make sure the pit stop times are being honoured. Meanwhile, staying out on circuit, Andy Dung. Another lap completed. He's going to be handing over to quite an inexperienced teammate. Very fast, though, in the second qualifying. So 100 seconds is 1 minute 40. That's the magic number. 145 is good.
Yeah, 145 for Alessandro Ghiretti, which is right on target for them.
56 for Picarello, so gave away a second and a half, the number 4 machine. And a very slow stop for the AM of Wang Zhongwei. So that number 22 giving away some time in pit lane. And look, Gelael with traffic to contend with, coming out behind Jackson Evans. This is not going to be as easy as he once thought. He was qualified well against the pros, and he gets past, looks down the inside of Jackson Evans. Jackson's been mighty this weekend in qualifying. Couldn't find a way through there. I'm going to have to try again. Behind Gelael is Liang Jiatong, a silver driver as well, in the number 77, and Ghiretti is behind them. Still waiting for pit stops from Andy Dung at the head of the field, Ben Porter, and actually James Hukwai has pitted, isn't it? So the Audi is our virtual leader. Then Jesse Crone in second position, who has made his pit stop perfectly. It's a really good pit stop from the 89 crew. And then this battle for virtually third position. Work to do then for Gelael. There is Gelael's girlfriend, partner. The two of them living in Jakarta, the capital here in Indonesia. So used to the humidity and the heat, unlike the rest of us. But still waiting for the final couple of cars to pit. It's always interesting to see the Phantom Audis, they was pit early, don't they?
Yeah.
Frankie Cheng's happy to get out and hand over to James Yu Kwai. And so it's Andres Pato that's handed over, of course, to Jackson Evans. And that shows, okay, slightly helped by the safety car, but the fact that he was able to stay ahead of those other cars has really helped them.
Yeah, really helped them. And despite the lead that Sean has, we can see the compensation times doing what they are intended to do.
Jesse Krohn, the fastest man out on circuit in the number 89 BMW. Haven't seen Jesse for a few years in GT World Challenge Asia. Great to welcome him back in place of Neil Verhagen, who was in that 89 car for the first round. And he's chasing down this man, James Yu Kwai. Yu Kwai with a couple of wins to his name. In fact, 4 to his name. Last win was in Chang last year with Frankie Cheng. Remember that incredible move around the outside at turn number 5 from James on the last lap, I seem to remember it was. He's also won all the way back in 23 in Sepang and Motegi, and won in 24 with different teammates. Frankie with 4 wins, 3 wins to his name. But how will he cope with the pressure of Jesse Krohn breathing down his neck? Actually, the time went out last time, didn't it? 28.8 for James Yu Kwai, at 29.3 for Jesse Krohn. All right, that's how he's going to cope.
Yeah, James doing a great job here, really extracting a lot of pace out of that Audi. And they've put themselves in a fantastic position now.
It's so good, isn't it, to see? And okay, the original, not the Evo version or the Evo 2, but the original Audi R8 was homologated back in 2015. Over 10 years old, that car, and Phantom getting good mileage out of the 15 and the 16. Now, Andy Dunn coming into the pits. No compensation for the number 96 on this pit stop. Unlike last year, where all silvers had to have a slightly longer pit stop, this year it's only if you are in the top 3. So where are they going to come out in relation to the rest of the field? And also, where on earth is Ben Porter going to hand over to Tony McPherson? Ben's staying out, by the way, so still leading this race. And because the second driver is going to do less mileage in this one, only 19 minutes remaining, the window still the same length effectively. So this could be a really good result for the 51. Just waiting now for that time to elapse. Everything well serviced, everything well done. Nobody even checking tyre pressures. All very happy with how the car is. There is James Yu Kwai coming on to the main straight then. I think Andy Deng should be ahead. He is rolling and now can get off the pit lane speed limiter. Needs to get up to speed. He's not going to be in the lead. He may not even be in second position here. Gets back onto the racetrack in second spot, but Jesse Krohn is going to be hunting him down because he won't have the confidence in the car. And remember, this is now Liu Kai-shun in only his 3rd race in GT3. Lots of experience in Super Trofeo, but the cars are so very different to drive.
Yeah, really different. Super Trofeo, quite a bit more power than we have in these GT3 cars. But we see, looks like the BMW is going to have a look into turn 10. Can he do it around the outside?
Jesse Krohn on the outside of Liu Kai-shun. Needs to just feed him close to the gravel. Oh, Liu being very, very kind to Jesse Krohn there. And again, looking around the outside. Liu just needs to squeeze him. Give him some more contact. Was so kind to him for 2 corners. And yet there's still contact between the 2 cars. Yeah. And Jesse Krohn is going to be so annoyed by that. At least they're still running. And actually the Ferrari finding some tarmac somewhere that will join back up to the racetrack. He's going to be going a very long way round. Ah, so frustrating. Meanwhile, here's Sean. And Goliath is back on the tail of Jackson Evans again. And suddenly it's for second position.
Wow. So quick it can change.
We'll have a look at that replay in a second as the AM car of Tony McPherson rolls down pit lane. He isn't going to be at the head of the field. It must have been a slightly slow stop for Amac. And unfortunately, he's going to drop quite far down the leaderboard. It's still going to be easily the AM lead. But look at that for a battle of cars, including Luke Hartog there, tucked behind Kim Yasato, Brendan Leach in there, Klaus Bachler in there, Akish Nandi's in there in 10th position. Wow, that is a battle. And Tony McPherson is not the fastest guy to get up to speed, and they're all going left and right, trying not to make any contact with him. Such a difficult moment. And Tony spins. It was always going to be overwhelming for the Australian, and luckily keeps it out the barrier. But you can imagine what that would have been like. His mirror's absolutely full of pros.
Oh, that wouldn't have been fun.
Understatement of the century, Sandy. I mean, literally, that is like being in a GT4 car with GT3 cars swarming around you, because he didn't have warm tyres.
No, he had cold tyres and 20 cars coming at full speed behind him.
And so we can settle for a moment. We'll have a look at the replays of what happened in just a few moments' time there. But James Yuquai is now our leader, and you have to say, comfortably leader. It's an Audi R8 1.2 with Jackson Evans fending off Sean Goliath for the moment. Then Ghiretti in 4th position. Yet another strong result, or strong running from the 911 machine. Liang Jiatong in 5th. The 25 Silverram Porsche of Tobias Kondo in 6th position. Seppänen in 7th. Krohn dropping to 8th. Then there's Nandi in 9th. And then that cluster of cars with Bachler, Leach, Hartog, and Fong and Picariello in there too. And still so much to shake out here, because you can see quite clearly Akish Nandi has a lot of cars in his mirrors. We've got 918 under investigation, would you believe? Vitakon and Interpuvasak's car under investigation for the pit stop. 918 didn't have a penalty to serve, so it's been given a 5-second penalty for a pit stop. But the pit stop 1 minute 41. So have we missed something? Possibly.
Possibly.
Oh dear. It really doesn't go. When you've got the luck, it's great.
Yeah.
And Vitakon and Uvasak, obviously back in 2023, had all the luck for him. But so far this year, just no luck whatsoever. Don't forget, finished 12th in race 1 and 22nd in race 2, having been spun about. Brought that penalty over to this race. And starting from the back, and now a drive-through penalty. 13 minutes remain.
A good battle in Silverram here with Alex Liang and the Porsche coming up behind him.
Tobias Kondo in that Porsche, just a second separating the two of them. But they've got Elias Seppänen chasing them down as well. And of the three, I think I'd put my money on Seppänen being the faster. He's slightly faster on the last lap, just by 1/10 of a second. Ghiretti taking a couple of tenths out of Goliath further ahead. And they're all taking time out of James Yuquai.
Yeah, it's interesting. James started the stint very strong. He was in the mid-28s and doing really good pace, and now it seems like perhaps the tires are starting to get away from him. Whereas we saw the opposite with Jackson Evans. He came out and he was doing mid-29s, and now we see him starting to get into the 28s. So perhaps a different tactic in how to use the tire.
You know, we talk about luck. Car 37, 2-second stop and go penalty for a short pit stop.
No.
And that car is now in pit lane, serving that stop with Luke Hartog aboard. These teams are so highly professional. I genuinely don't understand how often we see penalties for short pit stops. And just explain in the team process what's going on, because the time is started at the start of pit lane, it ends when the car breaks the beam at the end of pit lane. But do the teams have that information?
Yes, and in the Porsche, it has a very intuitive countdown timer in the car built in. As soon as you get on that pit limiter, you know how much time is left, and missing it by 2 seconds is too much. It shouldn't happen.
So is that down to the team releasing the car too early? Do you, as a driver, have the facility to actually slow down in pit lane if you're getting close?
You can. You're not allowed to slow down too much in pit lane, obviously. It is a fast lane, and you are not meant to go too slow in there. So maybe they released him early, and he didn't do enough to extend his pit time.
Yeah, I mean, remember the 37 came in that same lap where everybody came in.
Yeah.
And so you're probably so busy trying to find a slot to get the car out before a big bit of traffic that you forget actually you need to wait and only release the car when it can be released.
Yeah, maybe they thought they could kind of slow up down pit lane a bit and get those extra few seconds, but
obviously car 89 and 96 under investigation for that collision. Tracy Crone in 8th position, but unfortunately the 96 machine down in 18th spot is still running, but not anywhere close to the front of the field. And Liu Kai-shan is going to be devastated by that. He's got a chance to redeem himself tomorrow, but when it comes to that silver battle, Akish Nandi down in 9th spot, Kimyasato 14th, Sean Galal 3rd, and James Yukwai silver winner by the looks of things here. He's got a 7.5 second advantage over Jackson Evans, which is a decent, healthy margin to hold on to with just 9 minutes remaining. How will the tyres hold up? That's the thing. For James, though, he can chill, right? Doesn't have to push those tyres too hard.
Yeah, no, it looks like he's settling into a nice pace here. Still doing low 29s. Jackson behind him took about half a second out of him this lap, but I mean, he has 7+ seconds in reserve, so he can afford to start saving the tyres a little bit in case Evans can close that gap, so he has a little bit of tyre left to fight at the end of the race.
Here's a big queue of silvers with actually Seppänen is at the head of that field. So rather than Seppänen getting on the tail of Kondo and Lian Jiatong, he's actually dropping into the clutches of Jesse Crone, although Crone's going to be removed out of that because he is being given a drive-through penalty for causing a collision. Now that is interesting. Definitely worth seeing again because it seemed just unfortunate, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Liu Kai-shan had given him so much space through those 2 corners.
Yes, and it's 13 is not really a corner where you would make a pass, although, yeah, Liu Kai-shan was nice and gave him the room. But yeah, I don't think that move was on.
So Jesse Crone removed out of that battle. That will give 3rd in... Well, it would give 3rd in Pro-Am to the 918, but that's still got a penalty to serve, apparently. Although it hasn't served it yet, so whether there's been a discussion between Absolute and race controllers to exactly why that penalty exists. The 89 definitely clear, so they come into the pit. So it looks as though Pro-Am could go the way of Brendan Leach in the 72 right now. And that would be a remarkable performance considering their pace in Sepang yielded no top 3 results in Pro-Am or in the overall. So it's actually, sorry, it's been converted now to a 5-second time penalty, the 918. So that suggests to me that it's a different type of penalty.
Yeah.
So Backler versus Leach. Is there a 5-second gap? No, they're absolutely nose to tail. So that's going to be still going to be a position loss for Backler down in 9th position. Here is Jackson Evans. He's now put a bit of a gap between himself and Sean Ghalil. Ghalil, a 29.0, playing a 20. Actually, fastest lap of Jackson Evans's race on the last lap, 28.7. So Jackson obviously finding he's got a bit more tyre than he thought.
Yeah, it looks like he's saved his tyres at the beginning of his stint, and now he's starting to push.
So that 918 penalty, unsafe release. Remember, he was not in the fast lane.
Yes.
He was side by side, and that is effectively an overlapping of another car, which is unsafe. So that's why that 918 car has got itself a 5-second time penalty. But unfortunately, Backler's sort of going nowhere here. He's right behind Akish Nandi, and Brendan Leach is able to stay easily within 5 seconds of him, although Picariello is giving him some hassle. So if there is anything between them, then that gap could begin to grow. Oh, if it doesn't rain, it pours. Cars 37, under investigation, pit lane speed limit. So Luke Hartog has done his drive-through penalty, but perhaps not pressed the button at the right time. And so another penalty going the way of the 37. That car's on pole position tomorrow. So let's hope that the luck changes for Luke and for... I really want to see Anthony Liu get another win. He's got 6 to his name, but it's been such a long time that he last took a victory, and tomorrow's going to be his 60th race, so it would be a nice time to have a win for the champion in 2023. His last win was Shanghai 2024, where he also won in Fuji. I think Shanghai would have been after Fuji, so that was his last win alongside Picariello, actually, at that time. Oh, Nandi diving down the inside. Looked like a bit of a proper move there, although it was just trying to get past Tony McPherson, who is completely flapped. You talk about being unflappable. Well, unfortunately, I think Tony's been fully flapped because he's now well off the pace, letting everybody by, staying off the racing line, and has dropped to 3rd in AM. They're still going to be on. They're going to be on the podium. So because they're in 3 AMs for this race, because the Garage 75 car, which would usually be an AM, is not. Right, so here is the replay, 89.96.
Yeah, it looks like Liu Kaishun here. Oh, Jesse really dives for it there. But Liu also gave him the room there, so I think it's hard to place blame on anyone other than the BMW there.
It's that classic miscommunication of an inexperienced driver. Liu Kaishun would have been better off staying on the racing line and just
closing the
saying
door.
No.
Yeah.
Whereas it was a bit like somebody, I don't know if you've ever had this situation when somebody opens the door, you think they're opening the door for you, but they haven't seen you, and then they slam the door in your face. Kind of what happened there.
Yes.
So a lesson learned for the young Liu Kaishun and Jesse Crone being given the penalty. I think the penalty's a bit unfair, a bit harsh, but at the same time he did cause a collision.
Yeah.
And just a miscommunication between the two.
Yeah.
So a Phantom Global Racing Audi Sport 1-2. Would you believe it? James Yuquai leading Jackson Evans with Sean Ghalil in 3rd position. Now, I think Sean is continuing to lose time to Ghiretti there in the Porsche in 3rd position. Ghiretti's 2nd in Pro-Am. And Brendan Leach continues to be 3rd in Pro-Am with that 5-second penalty to Backler in the 918. And we are getting close to the final lap. The fairy tale has not yet come about, but if we get a safety car tomorrow, it could still be for Sean Gelael. I know we've got a bigger crowd coming tomorrow. We've got big festivities, 180 musicians playing on the grid. So it is going to be a big festival atmosphere for Sean's second race. He's starting, I think, on row 3, as into the pits comes the Adderley Fong driven number 13, and that is out of 4th in Silver Am. But he's not going to drop any further because the other Silver Am is out of the race. So driving standards, that's a track limit infringement. Too many track limit penalties. I wonder if we'll see any more doing that before the race is up. You need 5, don't you?
Yes, I believe so. I think 4th is the final warning, and then 5 is the drive-through.
So yeah, you get to 4th warning, and actually track limits for car 13 was quite recently, and all of a sudden then the 5th comes in. So if you are watching the race control screen and you can see anybody on a 4th warning, then in the next lap, in the next minute, they might still end up with a penalty, like the number 13. But we are getting close to the end of race number 1 here in Mandalika, and it's been a bit of a thriller. Maybe not so much for James Yuquai, who has really been untroubled with nobody around him. Frankie Chen did the hard graft, had to get his elbows out in the silver battle in the first part of the race. A big safety car in the middle undid all of the work of all of the silver drivers in the early part of the race, but those that have been strong against the pros in this second half have really shown their mettle. And once again, James Yuquai has done that. When James Yuquai is on form, he really is a pro driver.
Yeah, it certainly is, and today has certainly showed that. Mega pace throughout his whole stint.
This would be James Yuquai's 5th victory, having first taken 2 wins back in 2023, another in 24 and another in 25. And there are not many in the field that have taken 5 victories in GT World Challenge Asia. He is such the quiet fellow. When you see him in the garage, he's usually on his own. He's not tends not to be standing up and making a big hoo-ha. He's very, very quiet. But behind the wheel, he is an absolute monster. And we've seen some incredible overtakes over the years from James Yuquai. And he's now victory number 5 to the Chinese driver, alongside longtime partner Frankie Chen. It's James Yuquai, and it's a Phantom Global Racing double, an Audi Sport double, with Jackson Evans coming over the line in 2nd position and winning Pro-Am. Here comes the winner in Silver Am, Liang Jiatong. It promised to be a great race from Craft Bamboo, and it has been. 2nd for Elias Sepanen, I think, on the last corner there. And Kondo dropping to 3rd in Silver Am. And then Nandi Bakla, 5-second penalty has been given to him. Don't think it has been applied yet. Not sure whether that is correct or not. Bakla with a 5-second penalty. In theory, I think Brendan Leach should be jumping ahead of him, but not seeing that. Wang Zhongwei over the line for the AM victory in 16th position, and then the rest of our competitors. But that is a wonderful, wonderful result for James Yuquai. Frankie Chen, his 75th race start, and he gets himself another victory. Actually, 1 victory less than James Yuquai, but his first victory came back in 2018.
Wow.
In Suzuka. Don't say wow, you were racing then.
Yeah, I was.
And you haven't got a wrinkle on your face.
They're coming.
Yeah. Does seem like a long time ago, though, doesn't it? It just seems so easy for James. That whole stint, he was able to match Jackson,
Yep.
Sean,
Yeah.
even Ghiretti.
Yeah, no, his pace was lightning. I expected Jackson would be a bit quicker, but no, James really held his own, held the gap, and did everything he needed to do to secure that sweet victory today.
Shouldn't take it away from Andreas Pato. I know we had the safety car that basically reset the field before the pros got in the car, but he held his own, didn't he, in those early stages?
He defended like a true pro, and his experience certainly showing there, but Andres also doing a fantastic job because he didn't let anyone pass, so made the job for Jackson easier, and they've secured a 1-2 for Audi Sport.
There's the celebrations, 30 degrees, high humidity, thumbs up, but it does look as though James has worked hard today. And there is Frankie Chen Kung Fu. Big smiles on the face. Congratulated by Benjamin, our championship manager down there. I have to say, that's so cool to see. Andreas Pato on the left-hand side, congratulating his new partner for this year, Jackson Evans. They win the Pro-Am category as well as being on the overall podium. And there are the faces of Dean Chen and Liang Jiaitong for Silver Am victory, and the 22 Origin Motorsport winning in Am. 5.4 was the gap in the end, so James did slightly back off in the last couple of laps, but also Sean Goliath was not able to stay with Jackson Evans. He'll be third on the overall podium, second in the silver category. And then good points once again for Huang and Alessandro Ghiretti. Dean Chen and Jiaitong Liang finishing fifth. That's
really
very,
good.
very good. Let's go down to Amy, who has our jubilant winners.
With the winners of the first race here in Mandalika, what a race. A lot happened today. Frankie, you had a tough one. A lot happened on track. How was it? And congratulations.
Thank you very much. And yes, my stint particularly was a bit chaos, but yeah, it was for me it was quite a smooth stint. And big thanks to the team and to James that really outstanding performance, and highly appreciate Audi and the entire team that has been supporting us for many years, and it's great rewarding, and for me and James winning again and from last year, and yes, a big thanks to the team and to James as well.
As you said, it was an Audi day, and also, well, you had quite the cruise, I guess, but also a lot of luck at the pit stop, and also your driving. Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I think we had a really good competitive car from the beginning of the weekend. And also, I think Frankie had an amazing start. We got in position right away, and also had a safety car restart. We didn't lose any positions. So I thought it might get a little bit tricky with the safety car, but we managed to cope with everything, which is really good.
You also managed the tires very well, so congrats to you, both of you. The beach is right there. Let's go party.
Oh, Amy's going to the beach, is she? Oh, okay. Well, we all invited. 15th victory for Audi Sports in GT World Challenge Asia. The last time an R8 was on the top step of the podium was effectively this time last year, but it was in Buriram rather than in Mandalika, although actually Buriram was late May, I think. So not quite a year since their last victory, but a first victory in Mandalika last year. It was both Porsches. And let's now go back down to Amy, who has the star of the show here in Indonesia, Sean Goliath.
So Sean, tell me, how was the first race here at GT World Challenge Asia as a solo driver, P3? Not bad.
Yeah, obviously we're happy to be able to be standing in a podium. Obviously, every driver wants to win, I think we gambled on being a single driver entry, and I think with the safety car it was a bit difficult extending that 10-second penalty we have, but it is what it is. For today we take P3, and hopefully we could do a better job tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow then again. Let's go to the podium.
Thank you all. Hope I see you again.
Brings up an interesting point. Had the option to have an AM driver beside him, but he didn't. That meant it was 10 seconds extra penalty. But Sean for half an hour versus David for half an hour, surely still 10 seconds is going to be stronger for Sean.
Yeah, I think so. And tomorrow, Well, he finished third today, so he will have some success penalty for tomorrow's race once again. But as we saw, he has mega pace, and certainly in that second stint, he can do something.
Ghiretti and Huang lead the championship by 15 points over Frankie and James, now in second, with Lu Wei and Alessio Picariello in third position. Anthony Liu in fourth spot. Didn't have any points today. Boncalacci still up there and still in fourth position, with Nandi in fifth spot. But lots of new points being collected by many different teams. We start to roll into the heart of this championship. So next time out in Shanghai will be the sort of midpoint of the season. So it does get quite important quite quickly. Dean Chen and Yang Jiatong there in 11th for Craft Bamboo. That's a very, very strong, certainly their strongest performance. I think Liang Jiatong has taken victories in the past. Certainly been very, very strong. Yeah, third in Sepang and Mandalika. Here are the highlights then of race 1 in Mandalika, and it was Sean Gulail who had a clean start into the first corner. All 4 silvers following each other through turn number 1, with Anthony Liu in 5th position, the best of the Pro-Ams. Trying to get in the mix as well, looking to try and go round the outside and put huge pressure on the Lamborghini of Akish Nandi, but that pressure ended up in contact. Further back, there was this contact between the 18 and the 10, and that brought out a safety car because both were off the circuit with damage. A safety car that went all the way through into the pit window, a delayed pit window, and nullified any job that had been done in the first part of the race. A big defensive move when we went back to racing from Frankie Chen to hold off Akish Nandi for one single lap before most of the field came into the pits for their compulsory pit stop. Sean Gulail waited 1 lap, so he had a slightly emptier pit lane, but there were some pit infringements, including the number 37 back in the game thanks to a safety car, but then fortunately back out of the game afterwards. This was an important moment as Sean Gulail crawled all over the back of Jackson Evans in the 15 machine as it had come out of the pits on colder tyres, but held on and then extended the advantage. Andy Dang had led the race, handed over to Liu Kaishun, who came out back onto circuit into 2nd position, but didn't have the confidence and had pressure from Jesse Crone for 2 corners. The 3rd corner, there was contact. 2 of them went spinning out of podium positions, and all of a sudden we had Audi in 1st and 2nd. Phantom Global Racing couldn't believe what they were seeing. Frankie Chen handing over to James Yu Kwai. Sean Gulail not getting close to the 2nd car of Jackson Evans, and it would stay that order for the remaining 10 minutes of the race. James Yu Kwai with his 5th victory in GT World Challenge Asia, alongside Frankie Chen, who starts his 75th race and gets his 4th victory. A 1-2 for Phantom Global Racing and Audi Sport here in Mandalika. Time to go and find that sailing boat for me for the rest of the afternoon. Imagine many of the drivers would like to get a bit of wind through their hair. Here is the overall podium then. 2 Indonesians, of course, on the podium, with, we're not forgetting, Andreas Pato. There he is. And big, big smiles from Phantom Global Racing. And Sean Gulail down there, taking his hat off in respect. And being congratulated for his 3rd position. Does seem a little disappointed though, doesn't he? Body language says it all.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he had the pace to win, and that safety car really compromised a lot of the silvers, but clearly didn't compromise the Audi too much.
That's the thing. The argument is there to say, oh, well, it gave an advantage to the Pro-Ams, but we still have a silver at the head of the field.
Yeah.
And they would have, well, they're a silver, but they didn't have. They're 2 drivers, so they didn't have the 7-second penalty, and they're not new, so they didn't have a 3-second penalty. So if you then look at that, it would be very close actually, because the gap between Sean and the winners is around that time. A bit of a showman is Sean Galal. If you don't follow him on social media, do so. Frankie Chain giving a nice bath to Andres Pato. I'm sure the Pullman Hotel will also provide them some cooling off period. Very nice complex associated to the racetrack. And there is the Audi R8 LMS Evo 2, which is very much, it's not on its last legs. I think that's probably unfair, but it is getting to the end of its life. And it's great to see that there's still support from Audi Sport Asia for the brand and to keep them in GT3 racing here on this continent. You know, there are more Audis in this field than there are McLarens, of Aston Martins, there's no Fords. Sadly, no Corvettes this year, although we did have them represented last year. It's down to those brands to support. And Porsche send all of their factory drivers over to support GT World Challenge Asia, as do Mercedes, and the Mercedes was first homologated back in 2016. Exciting to see what they come up with for the next generation. Of course, we've got the old Lamborghini here, but there's already a new Lamborghini. That's the newest GT3 car, GT3 number 59, I think it is. And that's the newest one racing in Europe, but not yet ready to race anywhere else. Waiting for the next podium, which I think will be the Pro-Am podium, if I remember correctly. And so I am interested to know who will be third on that, because I think there was certainly 2 laps to go. There was a small enough gap to put Brendan Leach onto third step ahead of Klaus Bachler. But Klaus Bachler is being announced onto the podium in 3rd position, so they must have done enough.
Ruohan, Alessandro Ghiretti.
Yeah, now, so Klaus Bachler, I think Klaus Bachler and Vitakorn and Pruvacak either didn't know that they were third or don't think that they were third, because they're not coming to the podium.
Yeah, strange one. Ah, there they are.
Oh, there you are. Okay, so somewhere, maybe Brendan had a go and didn't quite get through, but Klaus is on the podium, but Vitti's not there. He'll be ruining and very frustrated with what happened in this race. It'll be interesting to see what Klaus can do tomorrow. You know Vitakorn very, very well. The performances we've seen so far from 918, nowhere near what you would usually expect to see from him.
Yeah, no, we still haven't seen their true form. So hopefully tomorrow we will witness something closer to what we know they can do.
Klaus Bachler and Vitakorn and Pruvacak, winning teammates back in 2023.
Fantastic.
Vitti with
Let's get those bubblies into the
3
air.
wins, but 2 of them in 2019, pre-COVID. So a long time since he stood on the top of the podium without Klaus Bachler as the champagne sprays for our Pro-Am podium. And then we will get the rest of the podiums. Thank you very much for joining us in Mandalika for race number 1. We'll be on an hour earlier tomorrow, our race slightly earlier in the day, and it's going to be very, very exciting indeed. And if you've got beach, go and enjoy the beach, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.